2025 felt like the economy and the markets were playing a giant game of financial chicken. On one side, you had the bears yelling about a recession that never quite showed up, and on the other, you had the bulls buying AI stocks like they were the last Pokemon packs on the shelf. Well, we've stepped into 2026 now, and the numbers are in. The global AI sector has officially hit a combined market cap of $52.30 trillion. If you're thinking, cool, who cares? The numbers go up, my $100 investment looks great. Well, you're not alone. But inside that number is a story that most people, especially the men in Patagonia vests drinking $8 ice lattes, aren't talking about. Because while you've been watching Nvidia hit a $4.99 trillion valuation, the adults in the room have quietly realized that the math is no longer mathing. The AI boom's biggest problem isn't the technology is very real. The problem is the story the industry tells about itself, and the fact that we built a $52 trillion skyscraper on a foundation made of hope, hype, and some really sneaky accounting. Today we're going to talk about why we might actually be doomed. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the valuations. Right now, Nvidia is trading at 47 times earnings, but that's the reasonable one. Palantir is sitting around 400 times earnings, and Datadog? Try 430 times. At this point, you aren't investing based on fundamentals. You're just pre-ordering hope. And the problem is that these AI stocks are dragging the entire market up with them in a massive feedback loop. The S&P 500 isn't being lifted evenly by 500 companies. It's being dragged higher by the Magnificent Seven, which now accounts for about 35% of the entire index's total market cap. It's like a group project where two people do all the work, but everyone gets the credit, until those two people get burned out and the whole thing fails. But it gets worse. While we're pricing these companies like they've already colonized Mars, the actual ROI is, well, it's awkward. Reports suggest that 95% of companies are currently realizing zero return from generative AI. They're running pilot programs, buying expensive licenses, and adding premium AI tiers, but they aren't fundamentally restructuring their operations. We're being told that compute costs are collapsing and intelligence is becoming radically cheaper. But your subscription prices are still going up, and corporate cloud spending is exploding. The industry is presenting directional trends as inevitable outcomes, but history shows that infrastructure cycles often benefit society way more than the companies actually financing them. And then there's the fossil fuel problem of the AI economy, data. AI is a beast that needs to be fed, and it's running out of food. Natural data, the raw, messy, imperfect stuff humans actually create, is the lifeblood of these models. But we're hitting a wall. Researchers are warning that AI firms could run out of high-quality, natural text data as early as this year, 2026. Some wells of image data might run dry by 2030. So what are companies doing? They're turning to synthetic data, AI-generated data used to train other AI. This is the mad cow disease of the tech world. Repeated use of fabricated data can lead to model collapse, where the AI starts to erode in quality, making major factual errors and perpetuating biases until it essentially becomes useless. If the supply of natural data stays stagnant, the models, and that $52 trillion market cap, will stagnate with it. Let's talk about the cockroach problem. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, once said, "When you see one cockroach, there are probably more." He was talking about credit stress, but the same logic applies to systemic risk in AI. We've built a market where everything is tightly coupled. In algorithmic trading, the output of one system is the input for another, with almost zero human intervention. This means a failure in one part of the system, like the Knight Capital mishap that burned $460 million in 45 minutes, can pervade the entire global market. We saw this in the 2010 flash crash, when $1 trillion in market value vanished in half an hour because of complex interactions between automated systems. Today, with $52 trillion on the line and machine learning models making decisions in microseconds, we're living in a world of normal accidents. These are accidents that are inherent to the technology itself. They will happen no matter what we do. And then there's the sneaky accounting. In the private credit world, which is heavily funding the tech sector, we're seeing the rise of PIK features, or payment in kind. This is a polite way of saying the borrower doesn't have the cash to pay interest, so the lender just adds the unpaid interest to the principal of the loan. So, on paper, the loan looks like it's performing and generating income, but in reality, no cash is changing hands. It's a way to take a company sliding toward insolvency and make it look like a healthy income-generating asset. Around 11 to 12% of private credit loans now use these PIK features, a massive increase since 2021. The math is still the math, and eventually, the bill comes due. So where does this leave us? We have an AI sector valued at $52 trillion that is running out of data. We have a market so top-heavy that if Nvidia or Microsoft stumbles, the whole S&P 500 slips. We have math nerds and algorithms operating at speeds humans can't compete with, creating a system where individually prudent behavior can generate collective turmoil. And while the tech companies are lighting billions of dollars on fire every month, like SpaceX's xAI reportedly burning $1 billion a month, the rules are being rewritten to make sure you are the exit liquidity. New rules like the fast entry rule allow massive, unprofitable companies to be dropped into your passive index funds just 15 days after an IPO, forcing your retirement account to buy them at peak valuation whether you like it or not. Are we doomed? Well, as John Maynard Keynes said, markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. The most likely outcome for 2026 isn't necessarily a clean crash or a moonshot rally. It's the uncomfortable gray area, a long, choppy, sideways year where rallies stall, dips feel scary but never offer real opportunities, and impatience destroys your portfolio. Every decision will feel wrong, and capital will just rotate between asset classes while the underlying risks keep compounding. The truth is, you can hide a loss in an accounting line, you can roll unpaid interest into a bigger principal, and you can call a distressed borrower a performing loan, but the math doesn't care about your story. I want to hear where you land on this. Are you still buying the AI hype, or are you looking for the nearest exit? Drop your take in the comments, and let's see how split we really are. I'll see you in the next one, if the algorithms haven't pulled the plug by then.